What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Team Chat Podcast, a video game show. I am one of your hosts, Jerrett Wilson, joined to my right by Rachel Mogan.
Buongiorno.
Buongiorno to you as well. How are you this fine? What is today? Tuesday? Monday? Monday
Tuesday.
evening. Tuesday. It is Tuesday.
Oh, God.
I don't know what fucking day it is. It's not Monday because yesterday you and I went to go see the theatrical re-release of Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, and it was fucking incredible.
First of all, I'm willing to say this on full blast, and I have no shame. I have no misgivings about it. Revenge of the Sith is my favorite Star Wars movie.
It's so good.
Full stop. It is literally my favorite. I have seen it as a child. I've seen it more than once as an adult. I think it holds up beautifully. I think it's the most interesting one.
Yeah.
I love all of the visuals. The costuming is 10 out of 10.
Which,
and the fights.
Oh,
it
so good.
has 3 or 4 of the most, I think, iconic Star Wars battles
you've got
in the series.
You've got General Grievous, the
Grievous
Obi-Wan,
so good. Yep.
which is great because you get the hello
Awesome.
there, General Grievous. General Kenobi, you're a bold one. You get that wonderful interaction. It's great.
Yoda versus Palpatine in the Senate
Yes.
when they're rising up
I
into
love
the
when
main
Palpatine
Senate
throws to
auditorium.
Senate things
Oh,
at Yoda.
it's so cool.
And then Yoda catches one,
He's-
spins it up and
yeah.
revs it and is like, yeah, back at you, bitch.
And Palpatine's like, ow, back.
No, it's fantastic. I loved it. And it was super cool because I missed that one. Of the Star Wars movies that I was alive to see the theatrical runs for, I missed that one.
I don't know how.
So it was very fun getting to write history and get to see it finally in theaters.
Truly, I think that not necessarily the only thing holding Return of the Sith up, but Revenge of the Sith up, but the thing that really carries it for me personally is Palpatine.
Oh, yeah.
Who's the actor that plays him?
Ian McDiarmid.
He is having the time of his fucking life.
And you can tell every time he plays Palpatine.
You can tell every time that he's like, I love Palpatine. You can feel it. You can feel how much fun he's having.
Yeah.
And even when he's doing evil shit, I'm just like, Palpatine, you're such
And
a
just
card.
even when he's reacting, he's just always standing there just cackling and holding his hands. Oh, God, it's so good.
Best. Palpatine is my favorite. They really did him dirty by giving him a granddaughter and ruining his legacy, but we're not going to talk about that right now.
Well, you just got to wait another 10-ish years, and then the cultural zeitgeist will switch on the sequels, and they will be as beloved as the prequels.
Do you think they're going to do another set of sequel movies, and it'll still be Rey, but she'll actually take a paternity test and realize, oh, that was just a whoopsies. Palpatine's actually not my father.
I'm actually Skywalker after all, genetically, 100%.
We're not going to get into it. It would have been better if she had been none of the above.
Yeah.
The whole idea of the Force being tied to genetic legacy is bullshit.
It's what Rian Johnson led up to at the end of The Last Jedi, which I will hold as my favorite of the sequels.
Oh, okay. Well,
of the sequels.
sure.
My favorite overall Star Wars is Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
Always has been, always will be.
No, mine's Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah.
But
I think Last Jedi is the best of the sequels. And Rian Johnson set that up beautifully by having that little kid at the very end who's cleaning the Farthier stables.
And
he
he's
uses the
got the
force and
Force.
grabs the
Yep.
broom. Perfect setup to kind of put that as you don't have to have this fancy lineage, but whatever. Well, that's a different conversation for another time.
we'll have to do a team chit chat one day about our grievances, our general grievances.
Love it.
There's
With the
so
Star
many
Wars
layers
series,
to that joke.
it's like an onion. It's got layers.
Also, I kept forgetting to say it in the theater because I didn't want to be disturbance, but every time General Grievous was hunching and stalking across
Right.
screen, I wanted to lean over and be like, every year makes me understand Grievous more.
He's just trying to put up with life with the bullshit that it throws at him.
The older I get, the more
aches
sympathy
and
I have
pains.
for General Grievous.
Oh man, it was a good time though. It was a blast getting to finally see that one. It was so good.
I
can't
like
remember if I did go back for the re-releases of A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back, because I know we did Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, we did.
We also did Episode 1.
Yeah, we did. The Darth Maulining.
Yeah. But I can't remember if I ever went back for the re-releases of New Hope or not. But anyway, whenever they do another one, because we're getting close. Actually, 2027 is the 50th anniversary of Star Wars, so they'll definitely be bringing back New Hope then. So, and also that's the next Star Wars celebration happening in LA, and I'm going to make it a personal mission of mine to go because I've never been. I just missed out on Star Wars Celebration Japan, which would have been amazing.
That would have been amazing. You got to do a costume, bro.
Oh, for sure.
You gotta figure
If
out
I
your
go to that,
costume now.
Yeah. Oh,
Start thinking about it.
who can 3D print me a life-size life-size Boba Fett armor. I've got the helmet.
He's already got the helmet. Does your head fit in it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's hot as hell.
Yeah, I feel like that's not going to go well for you, Jerrett.
I know. I need a helmetless character, but we'll see.
You need to be one of the named clones.
Oh, yeah. I don't have the complexion for it. I'm not of the Maori. I guess I could be I'm not of Tamira Morrison's bloodline. But I guess I could be the one, a helmeted one. I guess that's true.
We can just give you a 6 spray tan.
Hell yeah.
And then a wig.
Yeah.
You will have to shave off your facial hair. And I feel like that might not be worth it, actually.
Worth it anymore. I haven't done, especially since now the up top is bald. I can't have the face bald. I've done it a couple times, and it doesn't work out well.
It's a little bit too egg-like.
A little too egg-like, even a little too babyish.
That omelet's a little too fluffy.
All right, well, let's get into the main topic. We're even talking about video games because we've taken a big detour here to talk about Star Wars. But hey, I'll do that all day and any time. But we are here to talk about video games here at Team Chat Podcast, and you can listen to new episodes every single week across podcast services around the World Wide Web, such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Amazon Music. You can also watch a video version of each episode over on our YouTube channel. Links for all that are in the description below. Find us on social media at Facebook, Threads, and Instagram, and TikTok as well. We're also there posting some videos and reels and all that good stuff. And finally, if you'd like to help make the show bigger and better, you can head over to patreon.com/teamchatpodcast, just like Allison H, Ark, Brandon W, Bro Mogan, Super Saiyan Ace, Erica L, Elise F, Fuchsia, James K, Michael B, Michael S, Snooty Boots, Susan M, and Zach S have done. They've all gone to patreon.com/teamchatpodcast to support the show for as little as $1 a month. And in return, we give you cool perks like getting the episodes early before their general weekly release and access to a private channel on our Discord server, the Rogues Gallery, as well as some extra goodies along the way. But if you can't support the show through Patreon, that's totally fine. We completely understand. There's a lot going on in the world, and money's tight. If you're just kind of a crazy place out there. But you can support the show for free, such as telling your friends, writing us reviews, and subscribing wherever you're listening to and watching the show.
Notice that we haven't raised prices.
That's right.
Tariffs.
That's right. The tariffs aren't impacting old Team Chat. Not yet, anyway, until we go to buy games.
Storm. There's going to be a lot of late to the game episodes in the next few years,
little
guys.
Bit, maybe.
Get ready for that.
We got 3 new reviews for you this year.
And that's going to be it.
That's it. And you got to wait for me to play it, so then I can let Mogan borrow it.
We're going to do a lot of trading.
It's just going to create a nice little circle of stuff.
Yes.
But anyway. But for each and every single person who supports Team Chat Podcast, we are super grateful and thankful for each and every single one of you, all of our listeners, viewers, and patrons alike. Heart emoji.
Heart emoji, XOXO, we love you.
Well, let's get into some news because I know we have our normal releases and what's coming out soon, but we also do have a couple news stories that we want to touch on.
All right, I'm not going to backtrack to all of April, just to the 2 things that Jerrett and I personally care about. Just in case you missed it, South of Midnight is now available for Xbox Series X and S and PC. And pro tip for anybody that wants to be able to play it but doesn't really know how because you don't have an Xbox console or you're not normally a PC player, just confirming, you can do the $1 trial of Xbox Game Pass for PC or for Xbox itself if you have the console and play South of Midnight for free.
Yep.
So what a great service.
It is. It was great. And we're both playing it. That's how we both started South Midnight. So South Midnight stuff is coming soon.
Yes, we're
working
working
a little bit more on there. I apologize also too for the break because we had a couple weeks off there. Didn't have an episode. I had a huge project that came up that just absolutely ate.
Jerrett was dying
every single moment of my time for a 2-week period, and it was terrible. But it's over now, and it's done, and I'm not touching that video ever again.
Thank God.
Thank God indeed.
So just in case you missed it, South of Midnight is out now. It is, we're not going to go into it much right now, but it is artistically a triumph.
It's so good so far.
I suspect that our final review is probably going to be pretty positive. So if you're interested in it and you're trying to figure out how to play it on the cheap, do a free trial of Game Pass on either PC or the consoles, and you will be able to get your hands on it for $1. And then just remember to cancel your subscription after that if you decide
after that 2 weeks. Yep. But even then, after that, it's only $11.
Yeah, it's only $12 with tax.
And I saw that. The Elder Scrolls Oblivion remake is on there, also available through the $1 trial, and Clair Obscura.
Yes, so just in case you missed it, Clair Obscura Expedition 33 is also out now, and little piece of news, that in 1 week, they already surpassed 1 million sales.
Which is
1 million copies
Crazy.
sold.
That's so fast.
Incredible. It's so fast. And for we were really excited, or I was really excited about it. And I feel like certain people on our Discord were really excited about it, but I didn't get the feeling that the greater gaming industry was hyped for Clair Obscur. So the fact that it sold 1 million in the blink of an eye, I was like, whoa.
And from
happened?
the first game of an indie studio, also impressive to see.
Yeah,
you love
good
that.
for them.
So it's just incredible stuff. I agree. My initial impressions of it, it looks really great. Very
good.
pretty, very, combat's really smooth, all that jazz. But it is the turn-based combat, which is not normally my go-to. But I was at a buddy's house who's playing it the other night, and I watched just a few minutes of it, and I was kind of like, oh shit.
It looks good.
This looks really good.
Looks real good.
It looks really good.
But again, another one that you can get, at least you can do a trial of for free via Xbox Game Pass. So if it sounds like it's up your alley, but you don't want to dish out the premium dollars for it quite yet, give it a trial. It's a great way to get your hands on it.
Yep.
But coming soon to consoles and or PCs near you, Despelote. I hope that's how you pronounce it, because Despelote. Anyways, that's coming to PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC on May 1st. Everything is getting it. Free Ride for PC is coming out on May 1 as well. So is Peglin for PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One. Shotgun Cop Man is out for Switch and PC on the 1st. Coming out on May 5th is Drop Duchy or Drop Dookie, depending on how you want to don't laugh.
Or is it Duchy?
It's Duchy. That's why I said Duchy first.
Okay.
But it just depends, do you give
Drop
the CH?
Dookie, I think it's
pretty,
Dookie.
Yeah, it might.
I think it's Drop Dookie.
I'm gonna take the high road and say Drop Duchy.
No, I'm 5.
Anyways, that's coming up for PC on the 5th. High on Life is coming to just the Switch on May 6th. Metal Eden is out for PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC on May 6th as well. Then on May 8th, we've got Creature Keeper for PC. Maybe that's the Monster Hunter fun no-kill game that I've always been dreaming about.
Hell yeah.
And then we've got Duck Detective, the Ghost of Glamping for PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One, Switch, and PC on the 8th as well. I don't know what that is, but I'm immediately interested.
Yeah.
I like ducks. I like detective games. I like ghosts. And who doesn't love glamping? So, man, that sounds like a real winner to me. And then also on the 8th, we've got Revenge of the Savage Planet for PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, PS4, Xbox One, and PC, along with Sonic Rumble for PC, iOS, and Android on May 8th, followed by Spirit of the North 2 for PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC, and The Midnight Walk for PlayStation 5, PlayStation VR 2, and PC. And that gets us more or less into next week.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, the big news story that we did want to talk about actually just came out 3 hours before we started recording. So
I actually hadn't heard it before I got here. Jerrett broke the news to me.
But this is an article from The Verge. It is EA lays off staff and cancels a Titanfall game. So we're back at it. The games industry is once again suffering a big layoff. So the article says, this is by Umar Shakir, says Electronic Arts is reportedly eliminating between 300 and 400 positions and scrapping a game set in the Titanfall universe codenamed R7 that was in the works at Respawn Entertainment, according to Bloomberg. A quote from the article, as part of our continued focus on our long-term strategic priorities, we've made select changes within our organization that more effectively aligns teams and allocates resources in service of driving future growth. EA spokesperson Justin Higgs said in a statement to Bloomberg.
That means that the only thing they're going to be doubling down on is FIFA, because that's the only thing that makes them money.
That, I would think, yeah, the sports stuff definitely does. I mean, Apex, it's interesting that it was 300 to 400 people overall across all of EA. 100 specifically, I believe, is what the article says from Respawn. Yeah, IGN reports that about 100 employees at Respawn were laid off, including developers, QA workers, and publishing staffers. And further on, it says Respawn explains that it had to cancel 2 games that were in, quote, early stage incubation, and also, quote, make some targeted team adjustments across Apex Legends and the Star Wars Jedi series games.
Yikes.
Respawn also recently, though, in an interesting timing of this announcement, in that Respawn also just during last weekend, April 19th, I believe, or a few days before, they announced and then showed off gameplay for a game from Respawn, Star Wars Zero Company. That's a turn-based tactics game.
Oh, yes, I remember you posting
similar
about
to
this.
Mario Rabbids. Stuff like that.
You mean like
or
XCOM.
Yeah, sure.
Super Mario Rabbids.
I'd only played Super Mario Rabbids. I hadn't played XCOM, so I was trying to use a relatable example,
Hilarious.
So, yeah. Unfortunate to see yet again, and hopefully everyone who was affected by these layoffs will be able to either pick up new jobs or be reassigned within other EA studios relatively quickly. So thinking about all of them during this challenging time.
Yeah, bummer, guys. We feel for you.
But today's main topic, moving on.
Is totally out of left field.
It is really kind of out of left field.
Nothing to do with anything else we've talked about.
Nothing current at all. But because it
but also not old enough to be classed under late to the game.
Yeah, I mean, this is within the year this game's being released and everything, but it is definitely, I would say, somewhat of a wild card. Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine 2. Here's a full review coming at you. Get ready, everybody. Buckle in. I played this game. I got it over Christmas and decided to give it a shot and everything because it honestly was the thing that it came out September 9th of 2024 by Saber Interactive and Focus Games. And the basic deal is it is a continuation of the Space Marine thread of the Warhammer franchise galaxy of games that's out there in the world.
I think galaxy of games is probably about right.
First introduction to really anything Warhammer. But what drug me or attracted me to it is honestly the gameplay. Once I started seeing trailers and stuff like that after the game had come out, honestly was reminiscent very much of Helldivers 2. And I was like, Helldivers 2 was a fucking blast.
Yeah.
As we've said, it kind of fell off of it after a little bit just due to the time commitments and wanting a full squad. But here, this one was also co-op. You could run it with two of your friends in a 3-person team throughout the campaign. So that's fun to always have a good co-op campaign. But you could also play solo. So I was like, cool, not going to be tied down. I could try this out, see what it's got to offer. It also has a multiplayer mode and then also some other online PvE modes that you can also try. So, but like I said, this is my first foray into Warhammer 40,000. I had no idea what to expect.
All I know is big man in armor.
Yes.
Big monster alien.
Yes.
Little tiny figurines. Those are the things I know about Warhammer. And stuff like that.
Yeah, same, about the same. And that Henry Cavill's a huge fan. That's about all I know.
And I know that Austin has a dedicated Warhammer store, and it used to be right next to my Pilates studio.
I was about to say, I think didn't it probably have to close because of that shopping center's getting redone?
Oh, maybe they might have to move.
They're doing it like a whole they're making that shopping center like a South Domain kind of thing.
Oh yeah,
not that expansive, but I've
seen the plans. Yeah, I've seen the renderings. I mean, theoretically nice, but we'll see how it turns out. And also because that's within biking distance of me. So if it's nice, huzzah.
Yeah.
If it's bad, oh.
Yeah, who knows? Yeah. But let's see. So yeah, I really kind of just got this game on a whim. I was like, it looks fun. I enjoy playing Helldivers 2, and I know that's a different universe, different game, and all that stuff, but still, they seemed kind of in the same vein. And I thought I would give it a shot.
And I know nothing about either Warhammer, other than what I just listed, or the game, other than the briefest of trailers that I've seen.
Well, and that's, honestly, I do have to say, I will not be spending a whole lot of time in this going over the story beats and anything like that. I will talk about some things, maybe potentially there will be some review notes that I have that are going to be spoilers, containing some later game spoilers and different stuff like that. But I will just say this at the beginning. Being that I didn't know anything about Warhammer, being that this is the second game in this Warhammer Space Marine series, I will say a lot of the overall gravitas of what was going on was definitely lost on me.
A little was. I didn't realize that this was a direct sequel.
See, I tried to follow what you always tell me.
Leave the past behind.
Just play the most recent version. And I did that, and it bit me in the ass.
Oops.
No, I'm just kidding. But I mean, I definitely was able to pick up what's going on. You're playing as the Ultramarine Commander Titus. Who even knows if that is his official status, but he is an Ultramarine, and you're paired with this new team of Ultramarines to face this new Tyrant. No,
Tyrant.
Is it Tyrannid, or is that
Tyrannid?
Is that also? That might also be what they call...
I feel like the terminology of Warhammer is a minefield.
It is. Okay, well, here's a perfect example. The first paragraph, first sentences of the Wikipedia synopsis of the plot is this. The game is set in the early 42nd millennium during the Era Indomitus, the age of the Dark Imperium. After the return of Roberta Guilliman, the Primarch of the Ultramarines, the Imperium of Man has launched a galaxy-wide, decade-long campaign known as the Indomitus Crusade, with the goal of reclaiming lost worlds from its enemies and bringing it back from the brink of collapse. So that's why I'm not going to try to at all go about the story of this, because there is too much, and I'm going to piss off Warhammer fans by butchering their lore. So I'm not going to do that. But instead, I will overall talk about the overall like mechanics of it, what I found enjoyable, and then of course what I didn't. So to start off, it is very much like I felt like this game has its influences very much felt like a third-person Doom, or even kind of like along Gears of War. It is a third-person shooter. Like I said, co-op. You can play with two friends. You can play solo, and then your two teammates will be just computerized bots.
So like a high-octane third-person shoot-'em-up.
Yeah, pretty much. Okay. With some pretty big hack-and-slash elements. Because one of the things that also attracted me to Space Marine was that not only do you have big man in armor with guns, you also have big man in armor with big guns and big swords.
Big sword, of course.
/ big hammer. So it's really cool. So there is a really cool amount of, like, you can be full melee and use your big sword or big hammer that you got, or you can be switching around and using weapons. Weapons are usually going to get the job done because you are fighting like huge hordes of stuff, but it is very fun to be able to switch from having a gun blasting at a distance to then just charging in with your melee weapon and just wreaking havoc. Because it is very much why I say this game reminds me of Helldivers 2, is because you do fight like swarms and masses of these alien enemies that are coming at you, and they are just like huge in number. They overtake you, just seem like cascading over walls and buildings and stuff like that, and charging down corridors at you. Honestly, like pretty terrifying.
Very World War Z.
Yeah, very much so. And so it just, facing this huge onslaught, and it's always just you and your two brothers. It's that's it. And it's just you fighting against these massive swarms with huge odds against you, and you just wreak havoc on it. So it's really fun getting to shoot grenades, lob grenades, then just go in and start hacking with your sword, because not only do you have the gun combat side of it, you also have a little bit of like, it's more than just slashing with your sword. You get to have like parries that open up like timed defenses and then like counterattacks, which will then allow you to do these special takedown moves where basically you'll stun an enemy. They'll have a red like crosshair reticle on them. You'll hit, I think, triangle for PS5. You whip out your sidearm and does a really cool like quick zoom in animation as you just like blast them like close range and stuff. It's so stylish.
That sounds exactly like Veilguard.
Yeah, honestly, the takedowns, very much in the same way. But so it is very much that. It's very flashy. It's very like satisfying in that same way that Doom is. Yeah. That like you do have the takedowns, kind of like the glory kills from Doom, where it's like you like dismember or like hack in half an enemy and stuff like that, just totally over the top, and you're just like, oh shit, as it happens. It's just those kind of moments were fraught throughout the whole game.
So the gore level is definitely ticked up.
Oh, it's there. Okay, yeah. Like, because like one of your weapons is like a buzzsaw sword, like chainsaw sword, similar again to like Gears of War and stuff like that. So yeah, you're using that. You're just hitting people with it and then just sawing right through them. You do get a big energy sword later that just like hacks through stuff. And then, like I said, the big hammer, which you can at some points in the game, depending on your loadout, use like a jetpack to launch up into the air, charge like a super slam, and just slam down. It's awesome.
What's funny? Before you told me that, I was going to ask, does Big Hammer have jets on it?
Oh, absolutely,
because
it does.
I feel like Big Hammers in this day and age, they gotta have jets on them. Come on.
Oh yeah, and I really love that parry system, and because it does just add that extra little bit. It could very much have just been a Gears of War game where you move Gears of War, where you're like jumping from cover to cover, taking on a wave of enemies, you clear it out, move to the next place. And that is what this is. But having that extra melee factor to it really just made, a little bit extra fun. And plus, especially to the bigger enemies, when you did get to start hitting them with those parries and stuff like that, it just feels good. You get that good sound effect, the slow-mo effect a little bit as the sparks fly. It's awesome. I love it. So I guess the main story, like I said, is that you are trying to face this new swarm of these alien creatures, and then you also do wind up fighting. This is again a bit spoilery, but you do wind up fighting also the agents of chaos, the followers of chaos.
And who are they?
They're another like human, I believe, like sect who follows the god of chaos, whereas you're following this other different mechanical deity.
Oh, okay. Oh,
because everything is very much like machine and man. Like it's hard. I feel like this is very hard, and I'm gonna do probably a very piss poor job of explaining this because trying to explain this in all the various intricacies of Warhammer with having very little touch point to it is difficult. But so you got like your chaplains who are like full metal armor, huge metal armor and stuff like that, but then have like skull helmets and stuff like that.
I recognize this dude from the trailers. Maybe this guy looks kind of familiar. Is that him?
Kind of. I mean, yes, they are. There's one that like it, but they honestly, their armor kind of like is reminiscent of like Egyptian armor, like kind of in like, and they have like little scrub enemies that look like kind of like jackals or like not
little Anubises.
Yeah, Anubis. Thank you. Not I mean,
he is a jackal,
animals.
so you were still right,
but still like in more human form than canine. But anyway, so it really is just going through, and it's very self-explanatory in that it is just like you're going through. You fight these waves of enemies, and the big thing of it is the amount of the action, the nonstop thrill of the action, because once the levels start and everything, it is very nonstop, high octane action all throughout. And also, I really do love too, and you kind of got a little bit of it from that snippet I read of the Wikipedia, how it talks about the Imperator, the Dark Imperium, the Primarch of the Ultramarines, Imperium of Man. It has this very like Roman, like ancient Rome like tone to it.
And you love that stuff.
I do love that stuff. And paired with this ultra like mechanics, like futuristic, heavy machinery stuff, like they're everything is brother, let's march to war, brother. Their names are Gadriel, Titus, Archaean, or something, all these like big names like this. And I just like it just had this huge like it just had a great atmosphere to the whole thing, I will say.
Nice.
But,
so I was going to ask, like, I know that there's big hammer and there's big guns. How does that play out in battle? Like, is it an ammo-based economy, or is it more like cooldowns and abilities economy?
It is a good question. It is more of a ammo-based economy where there will be ammo packs that you pick up along the way, pick them up from dead enemies that you, especially if you do like the more like the big takedowns and lord kills, they'll drop some extra stuff like that. Health is recharge, like if you don't take damage you'll recharge, and that honestly though
back in my day you had to pick up health packs.
You do
around
have to
the
pick
map.
up health packs, and this is one of the things that I've run into, and I was kind of this is what I mean, like I'm kind of already going to transition into cons a little bit here, because while the game itself and this goes along into this and ties into what you just asked, by this it is the bullet economy. You pick up packs for extra weapons, extra ammo. You can't pick up different weapon types. You'll like get into a room right before like a bigger area, and there will be like a weapons cache that you can like pick to change out your loadout and different stuff. And there's the gamut. There's like the pistols, the heavy pistol, the standard rifle, automatic rifle, scoped rifle with a grenade attachment, all this stuff.
So are any of the weapons, the like guns specifically, do they stray on the more fantastical sci-fi side, kind of like Unreal Tournament?
No,
where you'll have things like the plasma cannon or the bio weapon.
There were some of that, like there was a little bit, but they were more just like upgraded normal guns is kind of what they felt like.
Gotcha.
There was one that had more of an energy base ammunition. There was one that had kind of like, it was like a shotgun but fire based kind of thing.
Ooh, that's kind of fun.
It was pretty big to use because you like two-handed used it and just like boom, like close range and stuff. It was pretty cool.
I like that.
So it was really great, and I will say, like I said, the game had the atmosphere and like this a cool, gritty, battle hardened atmosphere that I really loved through it, and that was great. But one of the things that I have an issue with in games like this that are co-op, and I've run into this before. I want to say Outriders maybe did this, and even
remember Outriders, people,
right? Briefly, barely do I. But it's kind of a thing. The Division might have been. I'm trying to think of another game that had this specifically, but
maybe one a little bit more well known than Outriders.
Maybe so. But it's when you play these games that are supposed to be co-op and you play it solo. You have the computer opponents and your computer teammates. You wind up dying. Just because of how this game normally you could be revived by your teammates, it gives you that same option here. But do you know how many times during this game I would die and just have to sit there and wait for the computer opponents to run over to come revive me? Sometimes it happens super fast. Other times you're just kind of chilling. And honestly, for me, I understand why it's there for when you are playing it co-op. But if you're playing it solo, it would be really cool if that could not be there and you could just die and restart the area, other than just this weird like, oh, I'm up and I'm dead.
Or
and I'm dead.
It might be nice, like if you are playing single player, it might be nice if they were able to code in a way for you to like become one of your teammates.
Yeah, like
and
change,
then go
and then once
revive
your party,
yourself,
like in Dragon Age.
Yeah, like in Dragon Age.
Once
So
your
it would
if
kind
you
of be
died,
the case
yeah.
of like, well, yeah, you're a way weaker little like AI computer now, but once you revive yourself, you go back to being yourself. That might be a nice workaround.
Yeah, definitely so. And so that was kind of a thing where it was just like, oh, okay, it's not a huge thing, just kind of a frustration, and just like, especially, but it kind of is a frustration because it does kind of feel like it made the game easier, because I was playing not on the hardest difficulty, but like second, maybe it was the hardest, I don't remember, but basically I didn't have that hard of a time.
Gotcha.
Like
too easy,
a little easy.
Classic Dark Souls complaint.
Because definitely
Classic-
every time I was playing Bloodborne, I was
Classic
just like, this is
Monster
easy.
Hunter complaint.
This
Too
is
easy.
But it really, like, the final boss, I maybe only died like 2-3 times too. Other bosses throughout, same thing, only fully died 2 or 3 times. Maybe had like got knocked down a few times in those actual battles, but just never anything where I felt like, oh shit, I'm hard stuck and it's going to take me a long time to figure out how to fight this guy. I was able to roll through it pretty easy, which feels good because you are supposed to be like an ultramarine, literally in the name, and stomping everything that comes in your path. But also I was just like, I feel like it should be a little, like, even ammo wasn't like a difficulty in finding it, where I felt like I was strapped for it and having to be, oh man, I really got to be careful here. It just kind of felt like I was able to just go through the game. And I don't know, like, while fun and I enjoy the atmosphere of it, I just kind of felt like I wanted a little bit more challenge.
Yeah, more of a challenge. And I don't think that's unreasonable. I mean, if you're fighting hordes of enemies, you kind of want to feel like it's maybe at least a little bit difficult.
Yeah, or like when you came up against one of the bosses, that was going to be like a really hard fight that you were going to be having to grind for. And it just really wasn't sometimes, even on a harder difficulty.
And especially if it's not a cooldown-based economy, like there's got to be a better middle ground between always having what is basically infinite resources versus like your Resident Evils, where they are very
so hard to
very
find,
scarce and
right.
hard to get. There's got to be a middle ground in there, right?
Basically, we're like, it'd be cool if like every once in a while in like a boss fight, I might have to be like, oh crap, where am I going to get this ammo from? Or
like
I'm only
used
having
up all
to use
your
my pistol
grenades
or something like that. Yeah, but there was always plentiful enough resources around, and like I said, just with that revive system of not having the like pain of die and okay, restart, it just kind of felt like I was able to just keep rolling through it at a pretty good pace, which, still the action itself made it pretty fun. And the cutscenes too, like there were specific cutscenes for story points that were just like, oh man, that's metal as fuck. That's awesome.
Nice.
And just a lot of those moments, but also the gameplay loop became fairly stale like halfway through.
Oh, that does suck.
You had the same weapons. You would have different advantages, and sometimes the level, being which level you were on, would be like, oh, this time you get jetpack, this time you don't. So, it was kind of dependent on level versus what experience you would have. And they're just, once you got the hang of the parry system and then the takedowns, there wasn't a whole lot else to it,
How varied were the enemies? And I don't mean the bosses, I mean the scrubby enemies that you're always fighting. Because I feel like that's a make or break thing.
They stayed pretty similar.
Ooh, that
like,
hurts.
There would be more numbers of them, or maybe like a bigger collection of some of the higher level scrub enemies. But
I mean, that was one of our consistent complaints with Dragon Age,
Yeah.
both Inquisition and Veilguard, is
Yeah.
that too many scrubby, samey enemies that don't add anything to the experience.
Well, and especially for this, like, okay, well, I will say, you do start off fighting the more bug-like Tyranids. I believe that, however they are, that might be what they call them in Helldivers, but still bug aliens. You're fighting those in the first half, and then like the second half, it switches to fighting where you're fighting the Chaos Marines and stuff like that. And so there, it's a little different because, yes, there are more opponents that are just like you and have kind of the same abilities and different stuff like that, but it still didn't like change or affect anything that greatly. You know what I mean? Like you still use the same tactics to take them down. You still use the same weapons and everything. You just might have to be a little bit more careful, dodge better, use your, I don't know. It just didn't have that feel of like, say, playing a game like, and again, different genres, different goal with the game, but it felt different than playing like Jedi Survivor or even Bloodborne, where it was just kind of like something new was going to come at you. You're going to be like, oh, this is going to take me a second to figure out how to beat this. It just you just shot bullets, swung your sword, until the enemies were gone, you know?
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
And so that part just after a while just kind of definitely got, and I think it was probably combined with the fact that I don't have touch points for Warhammer, that it kind of made it a little bit harder to not be as bought into the story or into the great huge war story and lore that's going on that has been being told for years and years and years. And I, just didn't let me connect with it as well as I would have hoped.
Yeah, that affects everybody's experience.
But also, one of the things, though, I say all that, but then it still did some weird things that I kind of felt were like, that's an odd choice, thematically and gameplay-wise, where there were multiple periods in the story where it almost felt like your character and team were the B-side to the main thing going on.
Oh, like you weren't the main character?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Like there was a couple points, again, sorry, this is spoilery, but there was a part like a huge Helldrake, again, a big monster comes out, dragon from the pits of hell and from the chaos demons, all this jazz. And you're just like, oh shit, this is going to be a cool fight. You don't get to fight it. Another team kills it and stuff like that. Or there was another place where you're going to go and infiltrate a big building or a big compound to set a bomb and destroy it and stuff like that. You don't set the bomb. You just provide the distraction and just fight waves of enemies while another team sets the bomb.
Unacceptable.
That kind of stuff. And I was kind of just like odd. Like that. It just feels like I'm watching my own side story happening. You know what I mean?
That's not great.
It's just kind of a weird tone thing where I would see these things come up and be like, oh, this will be fun to get to fight.
And then you don't
actually get to fight it.
That is a strange choice.
So,
I can also feel like I would not have enjoyed that.
Or there was even later near the climax of the game, there was another big monster that came in that was kind of did look like it was based again off of Egyptian mythology. And I was like, sweet, gonna get to take this down. And you
Well, describe the Egyptian mythology. A Bastet?
Oh, no. More like a vulture.
Oh, an Osiris.
Yeah, maybe more like Osiris.
Fun.
And you're like, sweet, gonna get to fight this. And same thing. Like, you kind of affect it during your gameplay and everything like that, but you're not actually getting to take it on head on. And that just kind of fell flat a little bit. I was just like, not my favorite thing, but
that
still.
Sucks, bro. Oh wait, it might not be Osiris. It might be Horus.
Oh, it could be Horus.
Horus sounds right. Oh no. Don't Egyptian mythology check me.
But like I said, the atmosphere and tone of the game was A+, but there just wasn't enough variation in the gameplay to make the campaign really pop.
It's Horus.
It is Horus?
Oops.
Okay.
He-bird.
Okay. Even on a harder difficulty, bosses took only a couple tries. There were no puzzles or environmental challenges, and you just felt sometimes like the B team to the main story. All that being said, and that was about the campaign, like I said, there was the multiplayer. And I was like, I'll try this out. The multiplayer, I feel like, would be where I would spend the majority of my time. The multiplayer was pretty fun. It was, 4v6 or 4v4 or 6v6 teams. And you have the standard team deathmatch stuff, objective-based modes and different things like that.
Capture the flag?
Yeah, capture the flag kind of stuff like that. Only 3 different modes too, and you would just play on a variety of different maps. And it was fun because you got to try out not only the standard Ultramarine, but then there were different classes. Like one guy who just has a huge tower shield and a pistol and stuff like that. So different classes you can play around with and different abilities that you can get to try out. That was very fun. It was also very reminiscent kind of Doom's multiplayer whenever you did get into that or played that later, again, from the third person perspective. So also kind of has that Gears of War feel to it also. And it was just a lot more fun, just getting to be a crazy sandboxy kind of just arena fight game, all Halo and all that stuff, Unreal Tournament and all that stuff too. That was very fun. And you got a lot of stuff because you would obviously level up all your different classes as you played them, which would unlock different armor customization choices. And honestly, the customization was very in-depth. There you could go in and change all the different colors on all the decals and different parts of it. Kind of like Tekken, how you can get pretty in-depth into
really
what you can
granular.
change. You can do that in this.
Nice.
So you can make some pretty sick armor sets for these various different Ultramarine classes that you can use.
Or if you're Bro Mogan, the silliest ones you can think of.
With some wild colors and that flashiness. But still, it was all very fun. I enjoyed all those modes, but it just still wasn't enough to make me be like, you know what, I'm going to spend a ton of time here and really focus in on this and level it up and get my characters to max. It just was it was fun. I enjoyed my time with it. and I was ready to move on.
Yeah, well, you know what? I mean, not all games can be top tier flat butt gaming.
Yeah.
Some of them are just
Definitely not.
lightly convex, more concave, but
Yeah.
it just depends.
But it's just one of those times. I take a swing, tried a new franchise, tried out a new game, and just didn't quite hit for me. Still had fun, and with the actual overall combat and hack slash, like I said, the gore of it, the atmosphere of it, A+. And of course, if you are a Warhammer fan, you're probably going to be a fan of this game too. And it was popular enough and did well. There's already a sequel in development, so a third game going in. I probably won't be playing it, but still,
Who develops these games?
Saber Interactive.
What else have they done?
Good question.
You know what? I'll look it up. You can talk.
I actually think. What did I start? I finished that, and then I immediately started something after that, and I was like, oh, hey, this is Saber Interactive too. But now I don't remember what it was. I went completely blank. But yeah, so that's what Warhammer 40,000.
A Jurassic Park game that's coming up.
Okay.
Oh, Turok, the Turok Origins game.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. That one's also coming up. John Carr, Painkiller, The Nightling, Roadcraft, Tempest Rising, Space Marine 2, A Quiet Place, The Road Ahead, Exploding Kittens VR. Oh boy.
They have another one that I just cannot think of right now.
Tear Down Evil Dead the game,
World War II.
SnowRunner, Mudrunner, Insurgency,
quite a bit.
They really cover a gamut of different yet similar games.
So, as is the standard, if you have played Space Marine 2 and have thoughts about it, well, we'd love to hear about them and see if you had a different experience with the game, enjoyed it maybe a little bit more than I did. But it does feel weird, though, I will say. And as I was starting to talk this review, I was like, man, it feels weird to do a review for a game that didn't really hit. Because so often all the games hit. But I just think, I really think with this...
We don't have many misses these days.
No, really don't. And I just really think that the miss here, while I do think, yes, the gameplay loop got a little bit old, I do really think that it probably was just, I was just not bought into the setting or the universe as a whole. And that just made it hard to grasp what was going on.
Understandable.
So.
Yeah. Well, do you have any interest in going back to the first Space Marine
probably
game?
Not after this one, honestly. Honestly, if anything, it did make me kind of be like, I want to play Doom again. I mean, obviously, Doom: The Dark Ages is coming out in a couple weeks, so that'll be fun to get to jump into that. But it also kind of made me want to play the Killzone games.
Oh,
I mean, different vibe with those first-person shooter and everything, but those are Guerrilla who made Horizon, and stuff like that. So I played 2 and 3, and then Shadowfall, was that the one for PS4?
So it just gave you more bloodlust for the gory, violent
exactly.
games.
So it kind of did that. It worked at that. So made me like the genre more, but just Space Marine 2 just kind of fell a little flat for me.
Well,
but, oh well.
Womp womp. Can't win them all.
Try again next time, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, with that, I think that pretty much wraps up this review and episode of Team Chat Podcast. Thanks for hanging out with us this week, and come back for our hopefully very soon coverage of South of Midnight, since we did both start playing that. It's a pretty short game. I think 9 to 10-ish hours, 15 I think all total if you're going for completion. So we should be having our review of that coming soon because it's been a pretty good blast so far.
And then after that, at some point, hopefully soon, look out for Claire Obscure First Impressions.
We actually, I guess we are. I think that was partially why we did this one too. Hey, Willie.
Willis.
Right here because it was kind of we're in that lull of we finished Dragon Age with all those other bigger games that we'd been playing. And then we had to replay these new ones and all that stuff. So, we'll get into it with all that stuff. A lot of new reviews coming up of a little bit more timely games.
Willie also wanted to come say bye.
Willie wanted to say bye to everybody. So we'll see you all next time. Bye.
Bye.